Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another virtual Wargaming live battle report. Today I am playing a game of Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition using the border patrol rules between Dwarfs and Hordes of Chaos. This is going to see a return to the capture scenario that I did in the very first battle, and then I looked at one other time for warbands, but other than that I haven't looked at it since. In this particular game, however, we're going to be capturing the hill in the center. This is different from my other two because in previous ones, they were terrain pieces that you couldn't easily move over. First, we had just straight up impassable terrain, and then it was an obstacle that you sort of occupied in a weird way. And today, it's just a straight up hill. You walk on the hill, you hold the hill. If no one's on the hill, whoever's closest to the hill. And it's just gonna hopefully morph the game in an interesting way, but we shall see. So, let me hop into my introductions. We'll start with the Dwarfs. So, leading the Dwarfs, we have a Dwarf Thane. I know that he says Dwarf Lord when you hover over him. That's because this is the same model that I used for the Little Lords game. I just did not want to make a new one. Dwarfs have sort of a limited scope of what you can do, and I was feeling lazy on this one. Also, like, the goal is to build up sort of a permanent-ish collection of tokens, so I'm leaning into that and reusing characters. So this Thane, he has a Gromwell armor, a shield. His weapon has the Master Rune of Swiftness and the Rune of Cleaving. That means he has +1 strength, and he hits first at all times. And then finally he has just a simple Rune of Stone to bring his armor save up to a 2-up again. He is joined by a unit of 10 Thunderers. These Thunderers are equipped with shields. They're not pictured because obviously normally I don't have them. And a unit of 10 Warriors. These guys have heavy armor, shields, and a musician. They have a musician because I had 5 points to spare, basically. Finally, we have this goofy guy right here, a Gyrocopter. Awkwardly slapped together in Hero Forge's kit bashing tools. I love him. I think he's fantastic. Some people might disagree with me. But he is my special boy. Finally, for the Chaos side, we have an Aspiring Champion of Chaos. Once again, I'm reusing a previous model. This was for the Ogre Kingdoms versus Hordes of Chaos one. She has a different loadout there, though she has the Blade of Blood and an Enchanted Shield. So we are looking to harvest some extra wounds from those dwarfs today. She is joined by a unit of 19 Marauders of Chaos. They have light armor, they have shields, they have a standard bearer, and they have a chieftain. They are going for that full combat resolution bonus. We also have a unit of 10 Warriors of Chaos equipped with great weapons. Once again, this is a reuse of the ones from the Emerald Pass battle. These were originally the Siege-aligned ones. They aren't Siege-aligned here. They're just regular Chaos Warriors. But if they look familiar, that is why. And then finally, we have this absolute monstrosity, the Chaos Spawn. I just slapped random pieces together, honestly, and I hoped that he looked okay, and I think he's come out interesting. I don't want to say he's good, but he's interesting. And hopefully in the future I'll have more patience with the Kit Basher to make some really messed up Spawn of Chaos. So that is the lists, and I've already done deployment, and I've already done who's going first, and the Chaos got the first turn. So let's hop into it. I'm going to start off with a straight march towards the hill. Oh, wait, no. Chaos Spawn's meant to go first, so I'm going to point him. I'm actually going to just send him straight through these trees, I think is what I'm going to do. So he has to go 2d6 inches forward. So he's going to go 10 inches forward. So I'm going to move him 8 up to the trees, and then 1 for difficult terrain. And we're basically sending him through the trees because if I send him this way, he would have cut off the Chaos Warriors, and he didn't want to do that today. So the Chaos Warriors are going to march up 8 inches. And we're going to stop here. We're basically trying to prevent too many attacks from the Thunderers coming in early on, or we're going to have to try and force them to like move forward and stuff. Because that is, the main concern is just being like shot down the entire time. And the longer we can prevent that, the better. So that's the end of the Chaos turn. That brings us to Dwarfs. So I'm going to do a quick like line of sight check. So I'm just going to sort of like draw a big line. I can't see how long it is. And that's a decent amount of Thunderers. So you can see the back of the unit. So I am gonna move them forward. I know that gives me the penalty for moving, but I'm not gonna march them. I'm just gonna move them forward a bit. The reason that we're moving, actually, hang on. Revert that back a little bit. 2 inches forward. And then I want to wheel them ever so slightly. And I'm going to be very careful because I'm pretty sure, yeah, even that is over 2 inches, or over an inch, I should say. Okay, that's good. So we want them wheeled so they have a better chance of all seeing and hitting the hill in the coming turns once the enemy gets up on top of it, because I know for a fact that the hill is just like going to be occupied by the enemy. Or by chaos, I should say. I am both sides here. Gyrocopter. Okay, these guys moved 8 inches forward. This was set back a little bit. I think 20 inches is going to put him like here-ish, which is ideal. So we're going to just try and full send at 20 and perfect. Okay, shooting phase. We are going to shoot with these guys first. And we're going to have to see how many can see first. So the answer is 8 of them can see. And for range checks, none are in short range. Okay, so 8 attacks that will hit on. So normally these are on 4s. We're long range 5s. We moved 6s, but we'll wound on 3s and we'll save on 7s. Go. Only 1 hit, no damage. Alright, and then we're going to fire with our Gyrocopter, which I have just realized I didn't put down a flame template, so I will go fix that. Alright, and I am back, and I have my flame template placed. So as you can see, it is going to hit 5 guys guaranteed, and then 9 Marauders, and our Aspiring Champion on a 4-up. And I apologize if you could hear my dog shaking in the background. She has no respect for the process. Alright, so it's going to be 8 hits on the Chaos Marauders. 8 attacks. Hit on 1s. They will wound on 4s. They will save on 6s. Go. 5 wounds. So that's going to be enough to panic them. So we get to make we'll have to make a leadership. We don't get to, but we pass. We're fine. Alright, and that brings us to the end of the first turn. Turn 2. Okay, we're going to start off with a Chaos Spawn, and he is going to go this way this time. So we're going to point him like this, and then 2d6, 4 inches. So that is, actually I'm just going to move him out of there and call that enough. Wheel these guys. So that's 3. Oh, are they in much blocked distance? Nope, they're totally fine. So they can go 3. They got 5 more inches of movement, which translates to honestly about that. The Chaos Marauders, we're actually just going to mount the... Whoops, forgot to delete these guys. I should have remembered that's the thing I have to do. Wheel 1.1, and then we're going to park right at the bottom of the hill, because we don't need to be up on it yet. And I want to make life difficult for the Thunderers. And that's going to be the end of that turn. I'm worried about the Gyrocopter, but like, what can I realistically do? Like, I guess I could send the Chaos Champion out to like harass it, but then he's just going to like fly around behind and then fly around different locations and just be obnoxious. I don't really want to have her playing keep away the entire time, so that's what we're going to have to do. And that brings us to Dwarf turn 2. So we're going to shuffle our dwarfs forward right up to the edge. The Dwarf Lord is going to... Alright, we're going to book it 6 inches this way. Because what I want is I want the Dwarf Lord to engage the Chaos Spawn first, and then try and get the Chaos Warriors on the flank. Because if we hit them in the front, I'm just like really worried he's not going to have enough damage output to kill enough. And like not get the, what's it called again? Oh goodness, words will come to me in a minute. Not overcome the static combat resolution. That's my real concern. The Dwarf Thunderers. Let me check my line of... Actually, I'm not going to check my line of sight again. I will. Like, there's less that can see now, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to just commit to getting good shots off in the next turn. Oops, wrong one. That was a bit too far, I think. So I'll scoot them back like an inch. Okay, there we go. And then a gyrocopter is going to move like here. Yeah, like that. So what we don't want the gyrocopter to do is we don't want him to have a direct line to the chaos spawn, because the chaos spawn can just spin on the spot and charge right at him. So that's what we're trying to avoid happening. The ideal scenario there for the chaos spawn is to end up charging the dwarf lord to successfully like tie with him, or like win by one. Well, just even tie by him because he has combat unit strength, and then force him to flee and just run him down. That's the ideal scenario for a chaos side here. Alright, so next up, shooting phase. So we're going to have to fire along the back, just like that. I feel like I kind of need to place this like more honestly, so like along the front. Perfect. So that's going to be 5 Marauders of Chaos that are being checked, and 2 Chaos Warriors. So we're going to do Chaos Warriors manually. Only 1 gets hit, and then 5 Chaos Marauders hit on 4s. 2. Okay, so 6 attacks, hit on 1s, wound on 4s, save on 6s. Go. 3 more dead Chaos Marauders. And then 2 Chaos Warriors, 2s on 5s, nothing. Okay. So then, that brings us to end of dwarf turn 2. Turn 2, there we go. Alright. Now, I feel as though I have made a slight mistake with my dwarf warrior positioning, because I think the Chaos Warriors can absolutely see them and get that flank. So Chaos Spawn is going to point towards our dwarf lord. And he is going 2d6 inches, 7. Yeah, so that counts as a charge, which means the Dwarf Lord has to make a fear check. He's totally fine. And then we just level him out and slam him in. These guys are also going to charge at the Dwarf Warriors, who are going to hold. And, yep, that's going to be straight on the flank. Wheel them around. Get them maximized. I mean, there's only 3 guys that can touch. Now, since we're not concerned about the Dwarf Warriors charging us, we're going to move up to here. And are we just going to tank the Dwarf Thunderers to the face? I mean, I kind of think we are, honestly. No, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to pull the champion out of the unit, actually. So you're going to be number 1. No longer part of Blue Unit 1. Blue Unit 1 wheel. Once again, I forgot to delete these guys, that's okay. And yeah, Aspiring Champion of Chaos is just going to stand here. And she's basically just going to go... We're going to put her like here. So her goal is basically to say that these 2 directions aren't valid for the gyrocopter to park in if he wants to like shoot at them. So he has to go do something else next turn. And then she also is protected from the shots of the Chaos Marauders. If our Chaos Warriors crush through and like push through this way, then she can come up to try and join in this fight. That's my thinking, at least. Alright, let's jump into fights. So, the Thane gets to strike first, because he has Master Rune of Swiftness. So he is higher weapon skill. He has... I have not updated my notes. I will be back in a moment. Alright, I am back. Sorry about that. I forgot to update my notes on how powerful my Thane... Oh, forgot to update my notes where I had Dwarf Lord written in there. And so I was operating on an incorrect number. So, 1 wound inflicted to the Chaos Spawn. He has 3 wounds. So, he just needs to get 1 wound back in 6 attacks. So that's going to be 6 attacks that hit on 4s. He will wound on 4s. And this Dwarf Lord will save on 3s because we have 1 point of armor penetration. Nothing. So that's going to be a tied combat this turn. And then next turn we will continue on and see how things go. Okay, so next up we have the Chaos Warriors versus the Dwarf Warriors. So this is going to be 3 attacks. They will hit on 3s. They will wound on 2s actually and save on 7s. Go. 1 dead Dwarf Warrior. Dwarf Warrior attacks back. I'm not going to even use the macro. I'm just going to slow roll it, and he misses. Okay. Combat resolution. 1 kill on a flank. Has a rank. Outnumbers. That's 4. The dwarfs do not care. They are totally fine. And that is going to be the end of the 3rd chaos turn. Dwarf turn 3. Okay. How are we going to move the Gyrocopter? The Gyrocopter is the only move in this turn, so like, he really matters. Okay, we can't go in front because then we're just going to get like potentially charged, knowing that these guys are going to get charged next turn as well. I think the answer is like we park him here, and then we like face him like this. I think that's going to be the correct way to do this. And that brings us back to the shooting phase, the dwarf's favorite phase, and then he is going to position his flame template like so to fully cover 5 guys and then partially tap the other 6. So that's going to be 6 that connect on 4-ups. 9 attacks, hit on 1s, wound on 4s, save on 6s, go. That's a full line wiped. That is painful. These guys don't panic check yet. They panic check after the shots from the dwarfs. So hang on. These guys are all short range. So that's going to be 10 shots. Hit on 3s, wound on 3s, save on 7s. This might just be a dead unit. That's a dead unit. Oof. And then that causes panic on both units. So let's find out how that goes. Chaos Warriors and Aspiring Champion. The Warriors of Chaos have the mark of Undivided, so they get to reroll this, and they're fine. Okay, so less than ideal, but also a little bit ideal because now she's cleared up to charge at him, in theory. So let's start with combat. We'll start with the Chaos Warriors. They go first. They're going to have 3 attacks. They hit on 3s, that wound on 2s, that save on 7s, go. 2 dead dwarfs. They don't get to fight back this time. So let's go over here. Dwarf Lord, 3 attacks. Or Dwarf Thane. Wounds on 4s, saves on 7s, go. Another wound inflicted. We are fishing for 1 wound from this Chaos Spawn. Do we have any luck? We have 4 attacks. But of course, this is more likely to hit because we burned through all our bad rolls last time. That's how that works. Right? It's kind of like I'm making 10 attacks, actually. I still missed. Unfortunately, my attempt to gaslight math into working in my favor didn't turn out for me. Alright, so this is going to be 1 rank on the flank. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 7. Yep, that's a flee. And we will pursue. I'm going to go 5 inches. Unfortunate. So these guys rotate. Wheel. Wheel to bring out this guy. And then 8 inches this way. It's going to swing them down a bit to get them like past the Thunderers. And then these guys go 5 inches forward. And that is end of, which turn is that the end of actually? So last time I called end of Dwarf turn 2. And this was Chaos turn where he got hit. And then that was, oh no, that was the shooting. What was this one? No, that was Chaos Spawn fighting there. Oh, yep, of course, that was Chaos Warriors. Okay, yep, so that's the end of Dwarf Turns 3. Okay, so this is the bit where things get interesting because we're approaching the point where we can just lose the game right away. So, Aspiring Champion of Chaos is going to charge the Gyrocopter. Chaos Warriors are going to charge the Thunderers. They don't have room to stand and shoot, so they're just going to have to take it. Because the alternative is we run away, and I don't really like our odds for the Dwarfs if we run away at this point in time. So wheel these guys, slam them all in. Good enough. And we can't slide them any further to maximize because of this. Yep, okay. Is she in range? She is barely in range, so she has caught up to him. And she is going to be fighting this Gyrocopter in close combat. That's the good stuff. And then we have the Chaos Spawn over here. So I'm going to do the Chaos Spawn first. 3 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 4s, save on 7s, go. Alright, dead Chaos Spawn. Dwarf Thane has overcome his nemesis. Next up I'll do the Chaos Warriors. 5 attacks. These will hit on 3s. They will wound on 2s. They'll save on 7s. Go. 3 dead Thunderers. And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in base contact. So they get 4 attacks back. Hit on 4s. Wound on 5s. Save on 5s. Go. Nothing. Okay. Finally, Gyrocopter versus Aspiring Champion of Chaos. So she is weapon skill 6 versus his 4. He is toughness 5, she's strength 5. So she is fishing for... Alright, so 3 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 4s. I don't see anything in the notes about a armor save. So I'm going to assume there isn't one. And go 1 wound on a Gyrocopter. He has 3 wounds though. But he only has a unit strength of 1, so he does actually need to attempt to hit a good hit here. And he misses. Okay, so he is going to now take a leadership check. He only loses by 1, so he's probably okay. Nope, he's not okay. If broken in melee, crashes automatically. So, how do we do this? I curse my past self for not including a scatter macro, so I will be back in just a moment once I've made one. Alright, I am back with my fresh randomized facing button, so let's find out which direction he's going. And he is flying this way. Oh, that's very bad for the Dwarfs. He's going 7 inches, so he goes to here and then he crashes. So normally we would put the template down. I'm just going to manually measure for 5 inches. No, sorry, it's 2.5, isn't it? Because diameter means, yep, okay. So it's just the Dwarf Lord that would get hit. It's 1 strength 4 hit, which fails to wound him, so we are totally fine. So Gyrocopter's removed, this guy's dead. Let's do this combat resolution real quick. Outnumber, extra rank, 3 dead, that's -5. That's actually a pass, they're fine, shockingly enough. That is the end of Chaos Turn 4. That brings us to to Dwarf Turn 4. So, Dwarf Warriors attempting to rally. They are totally fine. So they are going to reform on the spot. We're going to actually reform them to be... Oh no. We're going to reform them to be 6 ranks wide. And I forgot that they are facing this way. So now they are ready to try and catch the Chaos Warriors in the flank. And then the Dwarf Lord is going to attempt to charge at the Champion of Chaos. And he is barely in range, and she is obviously going to allow this. Oh, she also inflicted 1 wound, so she gets to make a strength test real quick. And I'm going to do that right now. Lower is better on a strength test, so yep, she passes that, so she has +1 wound. And oh, there we go. Alright, so that brings us to combat phase, since there's no shooting left. Chaos Warriors get, no, we'll start with Dwarf Lord, he gets to go first. 3 attacks, he hits on, he has weapon skill 6. She has weapon skill 6, he'll hit on a 4. He has strength 5, she has toughness 4, so he will wound on 3s. Now with Chaos Armor, that's a 4-up save, and Enchanted Shield brings her up to a 2-up. But he has a Rune of Cleaving and strength 4, so that brings him to strength 5, which brings her back down to a 4-up save. Go. 1 wound, so that undoes the +1 wound she has right now. So then she gets to attack back. She has, I believe, 3 attacks. Yes, 3 attacks. That will hit on 3s. Won't hit on 4s, sorry. Will wound on 3s. Oh my goodness, let me click correctly. Gromrel, Shield, Ruin of Stone. Yep, exactly the same layout. 4s, she doesn't do anything. So he has actually won this combat. That is impressive. But we will come back over here, and let me go ahead and do my 5 Chaos Warriors. So these guys basically need to win this fight right now. If they do not win, they are just... they're in trouble. 4s to hit. 5s to wound, 5s to save, yep. No wounds back. Okay, so let's start off over here. Aspiring Champion of Chaos. She is fleeing. She's going 7 inches, and he is pursuing her 7 inches. So this is actually very bad for the Chaos side, because it basically means that if the game ends right now, they have lost. And then we're going to see how our Dwarf Thunderers go. 7, yep, that's going to be a flee. They're going to go 10 inches. We're going to... what do we do here? I think we're forced to pursue them and then turn and walk back and just hope for, like, enough turns. Okay, so they're actually just... we don't even catch them. That's absurd. Dwarfs are just rolling like crazy right now. Okay, so that's 5.5. I was trying to like trick it because there are ways that you can sort of get map tool to behave and zoom like that the way you want while you're dragging things, but I didn't want to mess around with it as much to get it to work. Okay, so we end up here, and that is end of Dwarf turn 4. And then we roll a d6. On a 6, the game ends. No, the game continues. So, this is Chaos turn 5. I think begrudgingly I want to charge at the Dwarf Thunder. No, I just don't have time. I just don't have time, unfortunately. So we're going to turn these guys around, wheel them, scoot them over here, and then they're going to go 3 inches closer. And then that brings us to the Dwarf turn. So these guys are going to basically just wheel. Okay, actually, yeah, we're going to wheel them around like this. Are we going to do that? No, we're going to wheel them to like this. Okay, so what we want is if the Chaos Warriors can just walk past if they want, but then they expose their flank. But if they charge, they're going to get taken way off course again, while the Dwarf Lord sits on top of the mountain, jeering at them, basically. And that is end of Dwarf turn 5. Oh, I forgot to attempt a rally. Let me quickly do that. Yep, and also the Thunderers have rallied. Oh, so they get to shoot this turn, don't they? So that's going to be 4 attacks, hit on 3s, wound on 4s, save on 7s, go. And that's 1 dead Chaos Warrior as well. So I think the Dwarfs might have this one, actually. That Gyrocopter did insane amounts of work, to be honest, though, so I'm not too surprised. But now we have to see if the game ends. and I believe a 5-up ends it. I'm going to very quickly check that. Alright, I am back, and no, it does not end. It is on a low roll, not a high roll. So on a 2 or more, you play a 5th turn, and so on and so forth. So we were looking for a 1 or a 2 to end this game. So the game continues, and as the Chaos side, I'm just going to have to gamble. I'm just going to have to charge at the Dwarf Warriors. And hope, against hope, this works out for me. So we're going to charge into here. Wheel them. I can scoot him back over in a second. There we go. And it's not perfect, but like, there we go. Okay, so roll attacks. 5 attacks that hit on 3s, that wound on 2s, that save on 7s. Is that correct? Because it's a 4-ups. No, it's a 3-up save, and they have strength 6, which brings it actually to 6s. Whoops. I have been shortchanging my dwarfs this entire time. But that's okay. I'm sure they're used to being shortchanged. And I'm sure that joke is going in the book for someone. Alright, so then that is going to be lost by 3, 4, 5. So check a 4. They are within leadership range of the dwarf Dwarf Thane, and he is, I think, is he leadership 10? Yes. Let me double check my actual book. No, he is leadership 9. So same as the rest of his army. But I did say loses by 5. 9 minus 5 is actually, yep, 4, so they're totally fine. They're staying in this fight. Since they're engaged, we're going to march the Dwarf Thunderers forward. And then this fight on the dwarf turn. So we get 4 attacks, 3s, 2s, 6s, go. And that just wipes the entire unit. And that's actually not great for the dwarves, because they wanted them to break and flee to like pull these guys way out of position. Because now they can just sort of rotate around and try and get back up there. So that's going to be end of dwarf turn 6. And the game continues on a 4-up. And the game is over. So that was a turn away from disaster, honestly. Because if these guys had rotated around, they'd probably take 2 turns to get, 1 turn to get into position. So if turn 7, they would still need it to work, but after that, they would charge the Dwarf Lord, they would just like have the hill. I don't think dwarves could stand against that, but that doesn't matter. The game ended on turn 6, and so nothing else is important. So, with that, what am I saying with that? If you enjoyed that game, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I had a lot of fun with this one. For how sleep deprived I am right this second, I feel like it was a very coherent game. I like capture, actually. I like the randomness of like, you're playing to try and end well, to be in a good position on turn 4, but then every turn after that, you need to be like trying to figure out like, how do I maintain my good position? When does this game end? Am I gonna make a mistake by overextending myself? And like sometimes it's just like, yeah, I gotta hope that the game's gonna keep going for me to have a chance at winning this one. So captures are really fun. So I'm going to probably do. I'm not going to do more of it this month, probably. I think I only have like 2 games of this left. I'm going to quickly check that. Okay, so I have 2 Border Patrol games left, and then I have 2... No, I have 2 Standard Battle games left as well, I believe. Because I only have 7. Well, I have 8 more to come. But, so I guess it's 3 because I haven't played the next one yet, but I only have 2 that I haven't, like, got a plan set in stone for. And that's actually not true. I only have 1 that I don't have a plan set in store for because my final game is going to be... I already have that scenario planned out. I already know exactly what I'm doing. I'm very excited for it. But anyway, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. where we have a Dogs of War versus Tomb Kings, and for the first time ever I am using a scenario generator, which has resulted in a bit of a lopsided matchup, but I hope that you will enjoy it. And until then, boy!